Since the coronavirus was recorded in China and it spread the world over, a lot has happened, from changes in the way people dressed with the compulsory use of the face mask, increase in the number of times hands should be washed, avoiding crowded environments, keeping physical distance, and the lockdown experience. It is evident that people across the globe are going through a re-socialization of some sorts. Now, strictly abiding by a new set of hygiene protocols is a sure way of not only keeping the virus at bay, but also the devastating consequences of COVID-19. On this edition of Frontiers, the focus will be COVID-19, adapting to the new normal. I am Obiageli Gwoke, and our guest is a behavioral expert, James Komolafe. You're welcome to Frontiers.
Good to be here, Obi.
The program continues shortly. Once more, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you so very much. Good to be here again. I hope you are keeping safe.
Sure, we're trying our best.
And coping fine at this time of COVID-19 pandemic.
We'll keep trying.
That's
Trying hard to stay safe. Let's go straight to our questions. The coronavirus has changed people's way of life. As a behavioral expert, how do you think individuals can adapt to these changes without being traumatized?
Sure. Change is the only constant thing in life. And you see, COVID-19 pandemic is another atmosphere for change. And in change, especially at this time, you look at three things. One, you look at the past, you look at the present, and you look at the prospective. And anytime you have a change, whether negative or positive, you need those three combinations to be able to know how to plot your graph for the new reality on ground. And if we are talking about adapting to the new normal, meaning there is an old normal, there is a way of life, a way of doing things before, for which the new shift has brought a whole change into. So when we're talking about you trying to change, you must note and welcome change in the first instance, because what you don't welcome and accommodate, you will not be able to contain. And containing COVID-19 pandemic that has come to be a reality is a duty of every individual, because it's pandemic. It's everywhere at this time. So what do? Take to the necessary precautions, take to the necessary behavioral hygiene protocols, and make sure you keep safe and keep fit, even while you go about your normal day-to-day living. Because change has come, change must be welcome, it must be accepted, and then what are the issues around that change? Get to know and then do the needful, so that you can just keep going on as you balance your daily life protocol. As a human being, an individual, a family, the organizations, what have you, you have to live first before you talk about livelihood. And to secure livelihood, the lifestyle is critical at this time. So you can't just do anything you like the way you like to do it before. You just must file in so as not to file out suddenly.
And as we adjust to the new normal, we should bear in mind the past, the present, and the perspective. So it's a function of three P's.
So the first equation to managing and handling this change efficiently and effectively is that you need to realize the power of your three P's. What was it in the past before COVID-19 came?
Yes.
Suddenly, now what is it? And from here, how do I prospect for a better and brighter future despite the challenges of COVID-19. And you know, Obi, in every challenge in life and change, there are the positive angles, there are the negative angles. And most of the time, what causes trauma for people is when they look at the change dynamics from just the negative. Oh, I'm going to be indoors, just like we were indoors. Before you knew it, for months we were all indoors. Many people out there thought, oh, this could be far from being achieved, but we had to go through it necessarily, and we picked the vital lessons of life, because lessons of life are either taught or caught. So we went to school by force. And in the school, we have been schooled in the caucuses of social distancing, physical distancing, the washing of our hands, and the sanitizing of our hands with alcohol-based hand sanitizer, the wearing of masks. I'm supposed to have worn my own mask to my nose now, but because I needed to catch some breath and speak to the listening public, that's why I kept it low. Otherwise, this is not permissible. We are supposed to keep a social distancing.
Exactly, but we are
and all
maintaining
of
the
that,
social distancing.
and I believe we are, and all of that. So all these things are parts and parcel of it.
Okay, Komolafe, in keeping with the rules of our 3 Ps, just like you just said,
Yes.
Let's narrow this down to the family level. At a family level, what should parents do to ensure that this social distances from friends and peers does not affect the children?
That's a great question there. The family is the basic unit of the society.
Yes.
And when it is good from the family, it will be good in the society, it will be good in the public. So what is the triangular model of trying to abate COVID-19 pandemic? You know, a triangle at the apex, and then 2 bases. At the apex is the family, and then the bases, the lifestyle and the livelihood. So we're saying at the family level, that is at the apex, there should be consensus. There should be a concerted effort to ensuring that, one, we keep to the preventive protocols, the protective protocols, and the productive protocols, so that while we are trying to balance our daily equation, everybody in the home knows what obtains, and then when we keep to the protocols and to the rules, we will end up enjoying the times and be sure that, okay, nobody just goes out anyhow, anywhere, anytime. We are already vast about what the demands of COVID-19 pandemic is, and keep charity still at home, because COVID-19 pandemic or not, Obi, till tomorrow, charity begins at home. So in the family unit, we must set up the appropriate concerted strategy and plans to ensure that we are keeping safe. And then whoever goes out to do what must go on purpose. This is not the time to just say, oh, my friends, they want to see me and all of that. You don't know where that friend has gone to and all of that. You don't know what contact he has made, perhaps. So you watch your step. Where do you go? What for? Purposeful meeting of people, socializing and all of that, where you keep the protocol in place. So it should begin from home. Every home and household should stand for something real that is consistent with the rules of the game of COVID-19 pandemic reality, because it is with us. And something so unique about the family is, once an individual in the family can contact it, your guess is as good as mine. What comes around will just go around. Before you know it, we will have to look for every member of the family and whoever visited around that time to now want to...
That is where the contact tracing comes in.
The contact tracing episode will have to come in. And before you know it, you are seeing 30, 40, 60, one scenario. And before you know it, what we are attempting and trying to do as to flattening the curve will go skyrocketed, and everybody is in for it again. So it's very vital. We must take this crusade right to the grassroots, beginning from the family, and each family must be up and doing to say, see, children, this is what obtains, do things within the bands, and we'll keep safe.
And steady remembrance too. You keep reminding them.
Yes.
Now, the educational sector too has been affected by this virus, resulting to closure of schools. How can parents ensure that children keep abreast with their academics?
Very vital question as well. In order to quell the effect of boredom, the world is a global village now.
Yes.
There is a coping mechanism that is fit for every home and every family, even beside children, the adult likewise. So what do you do as parents? Encourage your children to keep abreast with their work. Many schools now are going virtual, and it's like virtual reality has become a manifest reality
online
in every home.
Extramural
classes, and you see, the school is in your palm now. Well, many of these children, the well-to-do, the middle class, and some low-income earners, they have the telephone. You can Google out anything and do some personal studies yourself. And I see a silver lining there, Obi, because you see, you can be ahead of the class by googling out some things, study your previous notes and lectures and all of that, and then just keep abreast, studying, read motivational books, do some other things that will develop your mental capacity. Because, Obi, school is not only that formal place where we go. Life itself and lifetime is a template for studies. So as you study academically from school, the official normal one, when school resumes, so also every parent must get their children to realize that studies continue. Because in those days, when we graduated from school, our certificate read, having excelled and have been found worthy in both character and in learning.
Okay, so let's take a look at the workplace environment. You know, the workplace is where people meet, and the chances of contracting the virus is very high in such places. What ways can employers ensure that the workplace remains safe for employees in a bid to get maximum benefits?
Very vital question. You can cascade it up from the family to the workplace. Keep to the rules. Know that the triangular version, it's just apt that as people are making up their mind to just live and continue existence, they also have to be productive. So the means of livelihood is critical.
That's our three model of approach.
The three model of approach is still critical here, which is one. And then two, that one is a necessary condition. The sufficient one is the fact that in every organization, follow the rules and then ensure that you keep sanity and sanctity of the environment in place. Now we don't have a place if the people are not coming there. So as we follow suit from home, it is expected that we also carry the same protocol on to the various offices. Not forgetting the fact that there could be one or two out there who may have erroneously maybe contacted with somebody without knowing and all of that. So what we save? The frequent washing of the hands with alcohol-based sanitizer, the wearing of the mask, and then the keeping of social distancing and to making sure you don't carelessly touch your nose, your eyes, your mouth, and then shaking people. Once this is a framework inside you, it will be so easy to become a fireworks in your outside. And that's why we even went ahead to create a simple model for every organization out there called Behavioral Guideline Assessment Test, for which it serves as a reminder to help you keep in check whether I'm really doing this thing well or not, because you see, we are not robots, Obi.
Sure.
Over time, we need to master all of these protocols so that it can become part of us.
Simple assessment that allows an individual to assess his or herself.
Individuals, organizations, family units, and wherever, so that you can know your level of compliance and know where to do the right thing yourself. And I think it will help National Orientation Agency, if they can imbibe it, then their work becomes simpler.
All right, so we'll call for a break now. Get back to you. This is Frontiers, and it will continue after this time out. Stay with us. It's glad to know you're still there. Oh, all right, Mr. Komolafe. Businesses has also witnessed downward turn due to this outbreak. How do you think entrepreneurs will take advantage of modern technological advancement to keep their business afloat?
Obi, if you don't know, you suddenly cannot flow. And if you cannot flow, you can't follow the trend. So, I want to say COVID-19 pandemic has caused several pandemoniums.
Sure.
And this pandemonia ranges from individual to business to entrepreneurs to everybody. Name it. Everywhere is worse hit. That's why it's pandemic, because it's happening everywhere and no one is spared. So that is on one part. There is also the silver lining. It has thrown up so many opportunities. Opportunity to scale up in order to meet with the new realities. And every adversity, Obi, offers a template for various opportunities. Opportunities of business along that line. And then now that you know what obtains, that there is social distancing, physical distancing, there are businesses now that you cannot do before without meeting crowd. Now you meet them at a higher dimension. You take it virtual, the digital world. People are on Zoom now. Most of my meetings now exist on social media, on Zoom and all that, which are even cost effective. And you can reach so many people within a jiffy by the reason of technology. So
Sure.
It calls for the fact that everyone will now need to scale up, to know what should be known in order to fix into the reality of the time. Because you see, opportunity answers to three things again. I always talk about three. In every opportunity, you have your ability to release, you have your activity to perform, and you have the reality that serves as a bracket for those two issues. Your activity and ability should be within a certain reality. And what's the reality on ground? You no longer can do business the way you used to do it. So what are the attendant needs that COVID-19 pandemic has created? Entrepreneurs should cash into those things and fix problem. And you see, entrepreneurship can be simply contained in what we design as FANAFI principle. FANAFI for a principle. What is the FANAFI principle? It says find a need and fill it. So what are the needs you can see on ground that COVID-19 have created? What are the interventions for which the solutions within you have been wired to fix? Where is your own creativity? How can you still do what we were used to before the pandemic came
Outbreak.
at another level?
Okay, let's take a look at other effects of the virus. You said earlier that it's affecting everything, everybody, and no one is spared. Now, you will agree with me, Mr. Komolafe, that so many economies across the globe is succumbing to the effects of this pandemic, with Nigeria as a nation inclusive. What do you think the government can do to ensure that the economy does not nosedive?
Certainly. When there's a nosedive, it's a preparation for an upheaval.
Uphealing, yes.
So life goes in cycles and in circles. Cycles, what goes down, must of necessity come up.
Come up.
So we need the involvement of the critical stakeholders, beginning from the government. The government must be sure to create an enabling environment that seeks to lessen the burden of COVID-19 pandemic. And if I may say something, COVID-19 pandemic has opened up a big gap for the middle class. And who are the middle class? The entrepreneurs, people with one-man businesses and all of that. And COVID-19 is saying, hey, look at it. It's no longer business as usual. These are the demands, these are the supply. Where do you belong? The demand side, the supply side, or both? What can you do? What can you fix? And that's why our government is trying a whole lot by creating some subsidiaries, funding, accessibility to little funding here and there.
Yeah, and
so
the PTF too is always giving us the guidelines.
Giving guidelines
to cut
and all of that.
Your thoughts short here, Mr. Komolafe. Now, because we need your general advice to people concerning this battle against the pandemic, which is far from being won. What's your advice to the general public?
My advice is that keep the hygiene protocol in place. One, don't ever get traumatized by what is happening because everybody is going through it. Then two, scale up to see the demands and the requirement for this time and fix them. What can you fix? This is not a time now. Certificates are good, but you see, on very many occasions now, your creativity and your capability must speak volumes, not just competence. Oh, I have BSc in this. Those are all bottom lines for the old normal. The new normal says, yes, we now know what you have, but what can you do? What problems can you solve? How would you like to be positioned? So, summarily, 7 things are critical. Prevention, preservation. I've come again with my PPP.
Yes.
Check your personality.
We have another PPP here.
What do I carry? Your personality, then your potentials, then your packaging. What do I want to package with who I am, for what I have, and what I want to do? Then you look at where you want to promote what you have. Where is the platform that you need? When you put all these things together, Obi, it leads to productivity. Either production of goods or services. So let's fill the template, creating services and goods and reviving our economy again. The petrodollar economy, your guess is as good as mine. Everything is down now and is diving. So what do? Stand up and stand out to the demands of COVID-19 pandemic. Do the needful. While you are seeking to live, also know that your lifestyle on one hand and your livelihood on the other hand must balance. So as you keep safe and keep clean, and you are keeping all of the social distancing, also know that while I'm preventing from being affected by COVID-19 pandemic, I should also go on the production side so as to balance the two. Before long, as COVID came, COVID of necessity will go one day. And then people are making these mistakes of having to wait until when COVID is over. No. That's the wrong strategy. What if it's not over in a short while?
And in summary, we should always adapt to the 3 Ps.
The 3 Ps.
And our 3 model approach.
That goes back to 7 Ps.
And then the other 7 Ps.
And then
that's
we have
wonderful.
a balanced
Thank you very much,
society.
Mr. Komolafe, for sharing your thoughts with us. We really appreciate you for coming. On this edition of Frontiers, we took a look at COVID-19 adapting to the new normal, and our guest has been a behavioral expert, James Komolafe. Remember, COVID-19 is real, so ensure you observe all hygiene protocols. Thanks for your time and stay safe.